Hey, let me begin by telling you an incredible survival story of a prominent company in America, and then we'll see where it takes us. Many people say business is a gamble, although only in a metaphorical way. But shockingly, Frederick Smith, the founder of the global logistics giant Fedex, once took this metaphor rather literally. In 1974, Fedex was struggling. It had only $5,000 left, barely enough to fuel its planes. You would think Frederick, who had just returned empty-handed from a meeting with potential investors, would rush to a bank for a loan. Nope. He headed to Las Vegas instead. Playing blackjack with a vengeance, he turned that $5,000 into $27,000, wired it back to his company, and kept it flying for one more week. That lifeline gave him just enough time to raise $11 million in new funding. By 1976, FedEx was profitable. Today, it's worth billions. FedEx was thus saved by a reckless weekend in Vegas. And while business schools don't teach blackjack as a strategy, Smith proved that sometimes survival takes guts, imagination, and a whole lot of luck. If that first story stunned you, this next one is even more gritty. There is this popular bright orange fizzy drink with happy vibes that you must have surely enjoyed without ever thinking about its gloomy origins. Well, think Nazi Germany. Think World War II. In 1941, as that terrible war raged around the world and trade embargoes kicked in, Coca-Cola's German branch found they could no longer import the syrup needed to make their popular soft drink. Enter Max Keith, the head of Coca-Cola Germany. Desperate for a solution, he told his team to use their fantasy, German for imagination. They did, and came up with a new drink made from leftover apple fibers, beet sugar, and whey. Guess what they called it? Fanta. The drink became instantly popular and kept the bottling plants running and workers employed throughout the war. So next time you sip that citrusy soda, remember, it was born as an improvised drink made from scraps in war-torn Germany, right under the nose of a deranged mass murderer. Meanwhile, something else was also brewing in Germany during and after the Second World War. You might think Adidas and Puma are just rival sportswear brands competing for attention on the track and field. But their history is far more colorful and acrimonious. Back in 1924, German brothers Adi and Rudolf Dassler co-founded a shoe company in their mom's laundry room. Business boomed until World War II, and a series of personal grudges tore them apart. By 1948, the brothers split, and so did the company. Adi launched Adidas and Rudi started Puma. Interestingly, their hometown of Herzogenaurach also got socially divided as a result. Residents picked sides, and people even checked each other's shoes before starting conversations, earning their town the unflattering nickname, the town of bent necks. So next time you lace up your sneakers from one of these two brands, remember, you're stepping into a family feud that never quite cooled down. Anyway, you don't need sneakers to play the game that is at the heart of this next business story. In 1904, feminist and inventor Elizabeth Magie created a board game called The Landlord's Game to teach players about the dangers of wealth concentration. It had two sets of rules, one where players cooperated and shared wealth, and another where one player crushed the rest. Magie meant her game to be a warning against ruthless capitalism. But guess which set became more popular? The second one, of course. Decades later, a salesman called Charles Darrow repackaged Magie's game, sold it to American toy company Parker Brothers, claiming it to be his own invention, and became a millionaire. He called the game, yes, Monopoly, which went on to become a global favorite. As for Magie, all she got was $500 and a footnote in history. So you see, the backstory of the game that rewards bankrupting your friends is itself steeped in questionable business maneuvers. But then, that's what business monopolies are all about. Anyway, bankrupting your friends in Monopoly isn't quite as mean as precipitating a financial crisis for personal profit. Believe it or not, while most investors hedge their bets, one guy bet against an entire nation's currency and won. In 1992, Britain was struggling to keep the pound stable within the European Exchange Rate Mechanism, or ERM. One shrewd investor saw the cracks: high inflation, weak growth, and an overvalued pound. So he made a bold move, shorting $10 billion worth of pound sterling through his hedge fund, the Quantum Fund. Then came the 16th of September, 1992, the day that would go down in infamy as Black Wednesday. The pound goes into a tailspin. The British government tries everything, raising interest rates, burning through reserves, but can't stop their currency from crashing, forcing them to eventually withdraw from the ERM. Meanwhile, this cocky speculator walks away with a $1 billion profit in a single day. His name? George Soros, the guy who triggered a financial earthquake and earned the nickname the man who broke the Bank of England. Wait, that reminds me of an interesting story related to the stock markets. But let me save it for the end. For now, here's another business story from England. This one will warm your heart. In 1962, a small, scrappy rock band in England was trying to win a record deal. They auditioned for Decca Records, one of the biggest labels at the time, on New Year's Day, after a grueling 10-hour drive from Liverpool to London through a snowstorm. But guess what? Instead of a contract, the eager young boys got a cold rejection, with the soul-crushing verdict:
Guitar groups are on their way out.
They were told they had no future in show business. Decca Records chose to sign Brian Poole and the Tremolos instead. Oh, by the way, the boy band that Decca Records rejected that day was called the Beatles. Far from getting crushed by the rejection, the Beatles continued their struggle, and just months later, they signed up with EMI's Parlophone, brought in Ringo Starr, and kicked off a musical revolution. As for Decca Records, their decision still echoes as one of the biggest blunders in music history. If you know other such monumental business blunders, please share them in the comments. Anyway, as they say, when you really want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. In 1995, a young aspiring entrepreneur called Pierre Omidyar set up a rudimentary e-commerce website called AuctionWeb. To test his new platform, he listed a broken laser pointer on it and honestly mentioned in its description that it did not work, not even with fresh batteries. To his utter surprise, someone on the internet ordered it for $14.83. Concerned, Omidyar emailed the buyer to check if they understood that it was broken. Pat, came the reply. I'm a collector of broken laser pointers. That quirky transaction didn't just validate Omidyar's idea, it sparked a revolution in online commerce. Within months, AuctionWeb became, you guessed it, eBay, and Omidyar's humble side hustle turned into a billion-dollar empire. So you see, the first item ever sold on eBay wasn't a rare collectible of any great value, but a cheap defective gadget. However, that one sale proved that you can sell just about anything if you can find the right customer. And even broken things can help build robust business models. As far as humble beginnings go, this next story takes the cake. Or should we say, noodles. In 1938, Lee Byung-chul launched a small grocery trading company in Daegu, Korea, dealing in noodles, dried seafood, and local produce. With just 30,000 won, about $25 at the time, and 40 employees, he exported goods to China. Nothing fancy, nothing high-tech, just simple food items. Over 30 years later, in 1969 to be precise, this company started making black and white televisions. Today, it is a technology and electronics giant, involved in manufacturing smartphones, tablets, laptops, televisions, smartwatches, memory chips, semiconductors, and integrated systems for industrial and commercial use. The name of this company? Samsung, meaning 3 stars, symbolizing greatness and longevity. Who would have thought a small business outfit selling everyday food items would one day grow into a multinational technology conglomerate? Amazing, isn't it? From a small company that made big moves to a big company that makes small things in a big way. Quick question. Which company manufactures the largest number of tires in the world? Michelin? Wrong. Bridgestone? Wrong again. According to Guinness World Records, the world's largest tire manufacturer by volume is, believe it or not, Lego, and it has held that record since 2011. Yes, that Danish toy company famous for its colorful bricks and miniature figures. How's that possible, you might wonder? Well, Lego produces over 300 million tiny rubber tires every year, more than global giants like Michelin and Bridgestone. And where do all these miniature wheels go? They are used in Lego's vast fleet of toy vehicles, from race cars and monster trucks to motorcycles, construction rigs, and even lunar rovers. And here's an inspiring twist. In 2025, Lego began rolling out tires made with over 30% recycled materials, such as fishing nets, ropes, and engine oil. Talk of tiny wheels driving big change. Remember I was going to tell you a story related to the stock markets at the end? Here you go. If you were told that America's Dow Jones Index is named after two people, Charles Dow and Edward Jones, you would justifiably assume that both these gentlemen worked together to create it. But you would be wrong. In 1882, journalist Charles Dow, co-founder of the Wall Street Journal, teamed up with statistician Edward Jones to launch Dow Jones and Company. In 1896, Charles created the Dow Jones Industrial Average to track the performance of America's biggest companies. The index originally included just 12 stocks, which over time increased to 30. Now here's an interesting fact. While both names, Dow and Jones, are on the marquee, it was Charles Dow alone who built the index. Edward Jones didn't play much of a role in it. He was more of a behind-the-scenes partner. So as it turns out, the world's most famous stock index is named after a duo, but only one of them did the heavy lifting. A rare case of giving credit where it isn't due. If you enjoyed this video, please do give me credit by liking it and subscribing to my channel. And if you're hungry for more such mind-boggling true stories, go for this next video. You'll love it. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.